This episode includes honest conversation around grief, addiction, abusive relationships, and mental health. Please listen with care and take what you need. Hi, I am Jen. Welcome to Fate 40 and Beyond, a podcast for women in midlife who feel like they are behind or maybe that no one else understands what they're navigating. Sometimes we just need a place to talk about real life. So each episode starts with a tarot card reading, and from there, the conversation unfolds into whatever the truth of the cards bring. We talk about midlife growth, intuition, emotional honesty, and what it looks like to rebuild a life that actually feels right and in alignment. Outside of the podcast, I'm the owner of Soulful Existence, where I work with clients around the world through tarot card readings, mediumship, and past life regression. So today I have Denean is the right way to say it, right?
Deneen.
Deneen. Oh my gosh. All these years in my head, I've been saying it wrong.
I'm used to it. I'd have responded whatever.
That is too funny.
Yeah, and my name is it's spelled weird too, so I'm used to it.
Oh, well, now I feel horrible. All right. Well, aside from your name and that discovery, go ahead and introduce yourself to the listeners just so they have a little glimpse of who you are.
Hi, I'm Deneen. Mom of 4, Nene of 3. I am a widow, going on 5 years. I am a recovering addict, 20 years in June.
That's
I'm excited about
incredible.
that. Yeah.
I love that.
I'll be 50 in May. Still trying to kind of find myself though. I still don't know what I want to do when I grow up. But
Yeah. And I mean, that's why, like, I kept hearing that from people over and over every time I'd sit down for a reading with them. And I feel like women in general, because we have, like, I remember being in high school and like making these plans for life. And then here I am 25 years later and nothing went the way I planned.
Yep.
So I think sometimes we assume everyone else is living their life according to their plan. And we need to hear that none of us know what we're doing.
I have no clue.
And then you
None.
throw in like the new hormones and new life situations. And we're all like, I still feel like I'm 20 years old trying to figure out life.
Yeah.
And that's what I keep hearing over and over again. So I think it's so important to
Yeah.
hear the real life stories and talk about that. We originally met because you came to me for a mediumship session.
Hmm. Yeah.
And that was,
Not long after John died. Yeah.
yeah, I remember it was incredibly powerful and probably one of the most memorable for me as the medium. I just remember thinking, like, we're about the same age. I could never imagine. And I've been able to get to know you and follow your story since then. And
Yeah.
that's been, I know it hasn't been easy for you, but
No.
I also, from my perspective, it's such an inspiration because life does go on. Like you have
It
embraced,
has to.
yeah, but you've embraced grandmotherhood, you've embraced every change that it's thrown at you, and you're still living your recovery story and trying to come to terms with just who you are. I admire that. I don't think as many people would be able to move through a life chapter with so much grace like you have. So, and I'm sure living in the middle of it is not
Yeah.
doesn't feel that way, but I'm just saying for me it's made an impact. So,
Thank you.
and
That
I
means a lot.
love, yeah, I just love that we've been able to become friends. Like
Yeah.
it's been nice. There's so many people that I started doing readings for that I like come into my inner circle.
Oh yeah.
So I love it.
And one day we'll meet in person.
We're not even that far apart. I was talking to my therapist the other day about how I don't have like a ton of in-person friends. And I was like, but online friends, I'm good.
Right.
I feel like I have a whole community. They're just spread out all over the world.
Yeah.
She goes, well, maybe that's just the person, like the way you're supposed to connect with people. I'm like, I know, but every now and then I just want someone to do something with nearby,
Right.
So I'm trying to get better at that. It's just so hard. All right, let's go ahead and see what the cards are bringing. I love how you mentioned before we started, and I can see from your background, you're in the middle of moving. And it
Yes.
feels the first 2 cards is the King of Swords and then the Queen of Wands, which to me is like the thought process of going into actual physical labor. Like, so it's like this whole just shift. And
Yeah.
actually just this morning, I don't know if it's gonna happen, but the possibility of moving came up for us this morning.
Ugh.
And my mind is already like, "Oh, we need to do this, we need to do this," like
Mhm.
the whole list of things. And that's what this energy feels like, is just kind of like the making a list and then the checking it off, the actual
Yeah.
action that goes with it. It's just it feels I don't wanna say heavy, not in a bad heavy way, but just like there's like a word to describe it, and I can't think of the word, but it feels very, um, I mean, physical labor. That's the only way that this is
Yeah.
through, of just like there's so much to do and so much to take care of. And heavy in the sense of like actually picking up stuff and moving it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been tough.
Yeah.
Luckily, I did have I hired a crew to help me move, so they did all the really heavy lifting, but,
Yeah.
now the unpacking and the organizing and all of that,
I
so
know.
oh, it's a lot. Even having a group that moved me from the
Yeah.
apartment to here, it was God, I mean, the packing and now the unpacking and then the making sure that everything's turned on here and turned off
Yeah.
there and just the back and forth. And
Yep.
I mean, I've got my 12-year-old too. So we actually moved in with my second oldest daughter and her son. So,
Oh, wow.
so now I've got my 27-year-old and my almost 3-year-old grandbaby.
Yeah.
So we're all in one house and it's just
That's
like, ah,
that's nice, and I feel like as a society, we've kind of moved away from that over time, and it's like, what good is family, especially if you get
yeah.
along, if you can't help each other out?
Right, and that was kind of the rationale behind the move anyway, was because, Emily needed to get out of where she was because she
Yeah,
was in a bad place, and I was in that apartment on the second floor, and it was a lot,
it's rough.
and it was small, and, just it was like
But
all the pieces just kinda intertwined, and we
yeah,
made it work, so,
I like
uh
that. There's I feel like with all the chaos that's I mean, basically since, like, 2020 on, I feel like a lot of people are starting to come back to
yeah,
their community or their family, and just it's like we had a reminder of what our priorities were.
yeah,
Love that. See what else the cards are bringing up. We have the 2 of Wands, the Magician, and the 7 of Cups. Yeah, the 7 Cups. So the Magician and the 7 of Cups together kinda gives me this the way that it comes across to me is like a very overly optimistic feeling about things. Almost to the point of, I don't wanna say daydreamy, but kind of that let's see. I mean, daydreaming might be the right term. Idealistic or not as grounded or not as rooted in reality. But yeah, like a little ungrounded type of energies. This feeling of really wanting everything to work out in the best way possible. And I don't want to say it's like skimming over some of the details, but it's just like this hopefulness
yeah,
of everything's going the way it's supposed to. And I think knowing what you've been dealing with for the last 5 years, it's kind of like this feeling of maybe this time it'll actually stick. Maybe things are actually starting to calm down for us.
yeah,
I think the hope is good. I think it's just equally as important to look at the fine details of situations and maybe what blind spots it almost feels like willingly ignoring the hopes that everything goes well.
yeah,
And I think, we all do that to a degree in certain areas of our life. But I am just kinda getting this nudge of don't overlook the really important things. I also feel like it's a return of all the energy you've been putting out, and it's time for it to kinda come back to you. Mm. Do you feel like you've been overly optimistic about this this next chapter?
The move and all that, not so much. My job, on the
Mm,
other hand, Yeah, that one was yeah. Never, because I mean, I've only been there 2 months, and it's hard work, and I'm kinda second guessing the
Right.
whole choice because I mean, I'm an RBT, registered behavioral technician, and so
Yeah.
I work with 4 and 5-year-old autistic kids
Yeah.
every day, all day. So it's taken a toll, and it's been a lot,
That
and since
actually
I'm
makes yeah, that actually makes the feeling of, like, the return
yeah,
energy to you make sense. I feel like that's more about, like, filling up your cup first.
yeah, and that's something that I have kind of pushed to the wayside a lot here lately.
Well, especially in the middle of a move.
Yeah,
Like, that doesn't leave a lot of room for self-care.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
think self-care is so different based on the situation or what you have going on. Like, you obviously cannot just go relax in a nice bedroom when everything is not
yeah,
unpacked yet. I it's that's interesting. But yeah, that makes the feeling of, like, being very intentional of putting the energy back into you. Let's see, 10 of Wands is that there's a lot of, like, wand energy, which is all, like, the actual doing of things, like, the actual process of making sure it gets done. But the 10 energy is a completion. Let's see, working through okay. The very next card I pulled up is the Tower card, and I feel like it's more of a completion it's telling me more of a completion of that type of energy. The Tower card is always, I should say, usually more of an indication of, like, life falling apart, and I can only imagine that that's what this felt like.
yeah.
Like, the imagery and the feeling that I get is Alice in Wonderland falling through the hole and it just not stopping.
That's how I have felt a lot here lately.
The 10 of Wands followed by and I'm like, "Okay, well, what's that cycle?" And it tells me the Tower right away. Okay, so is life slowing down? Is life starting to feel like you're getting your footing again? And that's the feeling. I think that's gonna be something that, like, it feel I always use the term "new normal," but there's never a normal.
No,
You know?
I don't think normal really exists.
And I think that's really what this is like coming to terms with the idea of, like, life is just chaotic. More of acceptance versus, like, trying to make it fit to what it was. I think that for me and my experience in my life is, like, getting sober, and I always love what is it, step 3, returning to sanity or whatever,
Mhm.
and I always think, "But I was never sane."
Yeah, same.
So, how can I return to something that never was? But in reality, I think it's a lot more of, like, coming back into alignment of where I feel like my most full self, and that looks different now than what it did before I stopped drinking.
Yeah,
And I think, as it applies to the reading and for you, it's before you lost your husband versus now, like, you can't go back to that version of you.
yeah.
And it's a whole new rediscovery. What are some things that you've learned about yourself in the process?
I mean, eh, I'm actually a lot nicer of a person now. I've always been hot-headed. I'm a Taurus. I
Yep.
mean,
Right.
through and through. Life is too short. He was 41. Yeah, he was 41, and I just realized that life is too short to hold grudges, to be shitty to people, excuse my language,
Yeah.
but just life is just you gotta take it literally second by second
Mhm.
because you don't know when it's gonna smack you right square in the face,
Yeah.
and I tend to give people a lot more grace now than I used
Mhm.
to. I look at situations differently, and honestly, just being a nicer person.
Yeah.
I'm not as quick to jump to conclusions. I'm more focused on thinking about, okay, so this person's being this way to me. Why? What
Right.
are they dealing with?
Yeah.
Because dealing with mental illness and now, everything else, it's just, you kind of have to, it opened my eyes to people have so much going on and you really don't know
Right.
what they're dealing with. And a little bit of grace goes a long way.
Yeah.
And just being more open minded to different situations. And I'm if I see somebody that looks like they're having like a tough time or whatever, I'm now that person that goes up to them and like, hey, I don't know what you're dealing with, but if you need to talk, I'm here. I have probably been there. I have probably done that. Just let's get it out, and if there's anything I can do to help, let's deal with it.
Right.
It's opened my eyes to a lot with just life. I mean,
My biggest fear is, I don't know, is I guess missing out on the opportunity to do that when life is good.
Mhm.
That I am so wrapped up in, and I'm a very selfish person by nature. I think we
Yeah,
all are.
yeah.
And always more concerned about myself, and I'm trying to learn how to be more concerned about others. And I think like that's a pretty big principle of AA or recovery in
Mhm.
general. It just takes a while to really figure it out.
Yeah.
And, I think I've had a similar revelation over the last year with Kyle. I I I was last year was rough. Like last year I had some mental health stuff going on, and he had his own stuff going on, and like September, October, November of last year was incredibly difficult. And there was a point where I was talking to my therapist. I'm like, I don't know if this is the right relationship for me anymore.
Yeah.
And I had to really think about it and decide if either I can make my own adaptations to how I'm handling things, or I just fail again, just find something else to go do with my life.
Right.
And it just came down to, no, like I have this opportunity to really love him and really give it my all and be a better person
Mhm.
instead of just taking the easy way out.
Yeah.
And that was 100% like so far has been the best option. I always leave a little caveat there because
Yeah.
you never know. But no, but like I think my biggest fear is really just kind of taking advantage or taking for granted the people and the situations in my life
Mhm.
while I still have them.
Yeah.
It's so easy when someone passes or when situations end to look back and realize how good it was. But like, am I living that in the moment?
Yeah, but at the same time, though, I mean, after he passed away, I realized some of the people that were there for me
Sure.
at one point in time, they weren't really there
Yeah.
because I've lost so many friends and people in my life since he's been gone that it's insane. My circle has shrunk
Yeah.
significant.
Yeah. I look back at my Facebook memories from while I was married in my first marriage, and I'm like, those people, like, as soon as they found out we were separated, they
Yeah.
split.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
like it was contagious or something, They're just out of there. And I realized I'm not really missing out on anything, though.
Same, same.
Like, there's
But
not.
it took me a little while
Oh, for
because I
sure.
was like, "What did I do? I mean, did I
And
do
it still
something to
hurts.
screw anything up?" But, yeah, you just realize that, you know what? Y'all do you, and I'm gonna do me, and it
Yeah.
doesn't matter if we're doing it together. Because
I think, yeah, that's been, a really interesting lesson for me. For some reason, even though I've had my heart broken a million times, I'm still a hopeless romantic, right? But then I get hurt in friendships when they end, and
Mhm.
I'm like, "Oop, nope, can't do that. No more friends for me.
Yeah,
I'm good on my own." And
yeah,
I'm learning that even if other friendships didn't work out for one reason or another, it's okay to be vulnerable with people in friendship relationships.
oh, yeah,
And that's hard for me. That's like really
yeah.
like painfully hard.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to let anybody in my little circle
Yeah.
because I don't know, people can be really crappy at times, and you know, you see them one way, and you know them for years and years, and they're great, and then all of a sudden, it's like they're not, and it's like, "What did I do?"
Right. Yeah.
But, yeah, it's just,
COVID opened that
whatever.
up for me. That was a really interesting time of my life. People, I feel like it was a big dividing like line. Either you're on this
Mm.
side of things or on the
Mhm.
other side.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even like health-based stuff. It was just how we were handling it. I at
Mhm.
the time was working 2 jobs. I had a roommate that was not great. I was getting my lease in my apartment was ending right before, like, we went on shutdown, like, the Monday after, and I was like, "I have
Mm.
nowhere to live." I have I it was just crazy. And then my friend's like, "I'm so glad I get to work from home forever." And I was like, "That must be nice."
Yeah, right?
And there was a huge mismatch in how we were navigating that time, and it just never got resolved. And
Mm.
that was, like, one of the most, I wouldn't say devastating friendship endings, but heartbreaking because I really
Yeah.
thought that we were solid. And, it wasn't even a big disagreement. It just was not meant to continue on, and that's hard.
Yeah, I mean, and the couple that was actually at my mediumship
Oh, yeah.
reading, yeah, it was them.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, they
that's
just dropped me like
hard.
a bad habit with no explanation, and it's like, "Okay,
And
you know,
that's
what
I
now?"
I would imagine in that scenario, like, someone who's lost their partner, grieving doesn't look pretty.
Mm-mm.
And I can't imagine that it would be comfortable from a friend's perspective to see someone like that. And I just
Yeah,
think, how would I handle that? How would I show up for someone and just be there for them when they're like, it has to be uncomfortable, but you still do it if it's a meaningful friendship,
yeah.
you know?
Well, and they were good friends with
Yeah.
John too, so that's what really made it feel even worse was because we were all 4 the best of friends,
Yeah.
and then for about a year, year and a half after he died, we were still hanging out, doing things together, going on trips and this, that, and the other, and then, I went to Maine for my mecation, and, when I came back, that was it. I mean, it was done.
That's crazy.
Yeah, literally, no explanation, nothing. So, I don't know, but
I hate that. But but like you said earlier, like, people are going through their own stuff,
oh, yeah.
and it's
Oh,
so
yeah.
it's so hard because I think you saw my post yesterday about the neighbor issue,
Yeah.
and I just have to keep reminding myself it's something on their end that is just they're unhappy, they're dealing with extra stress, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I feel like there's so many instances recently where I'm just existing and people have come up to me with so much aggression. And I'm like, "I'm
The
just
story
sitting
of my
here."
life.
Right, like, "I'm just here. What are you talking about?" And there's not, like, an answer to that
Yeah.
other than, like, I'm happy with my life, and that makes people upset. I don't know. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know, but they're going through something, and I think if we all walked around with a big, like, T-shirt that says all the stuff we're dealing with, maybe life would be easier. I
I don't
don't
know if
think
there'd be
so.
a t-shirt big enough for that.
Right, but I mean, that puts it into perspective.
Yeah.
If we really list out all the stuff that bogs us down and you could see it clearly for someone else, how would we respond differently to them?
Yeah.
And that's I don't know. I
I
think
can't
that's the part
imagine.
I'm like, if I could more easily and more, mm, naturally respond to people from that perspective, I would probably feel better about myself in the long
Yeah.
run, Let's see what else the cards have. So we got the 10 of Swords, Strength, High Priestess I like for you. That one's a good card.
That
To
one
me
always seems to come up.
but to me, it's very much of, like, coming into your own energy-wise, wisdom-wise. Like, it feels like really recognizing that you have all of the power and energy that you need, that it's just a matter of finding it
Yeah.
within yourself. And I think the 10 of swords is also kind of this it comes back to, like, that acceptance of situation, where you're at, who you are, what you're capable of. Kinda feels like that too. The strength card I have, I don't know, maybe that's one that I need to meditate on because it it always pisses me off when people are like, "Oh, you're so strong," and I'm like,
Yeah.
You're assuming I had other options."
Right? Exactly.
You know
You just hit that nail right on the head with that
right, like,
one.
what else was I gonna
Yeah.
do?
What am I supposed to do?
Right, and I I saw a meme or whatever, like a little graphic on Facebook. I've seen it over and over again. It's like, I hope to never be called strong again. And all the reasons why. And that's how I feel. Like
Mhm.
there's a lot of stuff that I've gone through, sure. But that's not like that's I'm not wearing that with a badge of honor
Yeah.
because it was rough.
Yeah. Not anything I chose. It just kinda
Right.
happened, and I had to deal with it the best I could.
Right.
Yeah. I don't think it makes me strong, though. Makes me human.
Stubborn is what it makes me.
Yeah, well, I'm that naturally, so
Right, with the with yes, you're very bull-like with that Taurus. So, yeah, that makes sense. I think maybe it for me is changing a little bit of sure, I was strong to get through all this stuff, but now I'm actually choosing it and more so in a physical manner than willfully or whatever personality-wise. This last couple of years has been a huge focus on, like, what am I putting into my body and how am I taking care of my body? And it's not been an easy road, but it's been something I've been needing to do for a while. And then we just joined a gym, and I'm like,
Mhm.
that means we have to actually go. Okay. I think, I don't want to say like choosing my strong, but taking value in the decision that I have to be
Yeah,
strong. And that changes the story a little bit, you know? So, but again, like it just goes back to that addictive behavior that I have. And if it's not alcohol, it's, shopping or it's spending time on Facebook or
yeah.
food or, there's always this rotation of it, which is why you do all the work all the way through for the steps. Like,
Right.
that's how you fix it. I shouldn't say fix it. That's how you battle it. But yeah, I think we kind of touched on that already of just like what you learned about yourself in this process. But the high priestess for you, it just feels like finally just like fine, I can handle life. Like fine, I don't need someone to hold my hand and do this. Like I am capable. How old were you when you got married?
When I got married the second time?
Well, okay, so the way that this is coming through is almost like not ever really having the opportunity to take care of yourself and prove to yourself that you could do it. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah, because I mean, I married the first time at 19,
Yeah.
divorced with 2 kids at 24, and then, got with John at 30.
Okay, so
So,
but there's a gap in there, so you were
yeah,
able
but
to
that
kind
was
of
when
like
the drug addiction and the everything else came
wow,
into play, so
yeah, that makes sense.
yeah, I went from, the nasty abusive marriage to
Mhm.
the abusing myself,
Yeah,
you know
no, 100%. I did the same
the
thing.
drinking, the drugging, the tattoos, everything. I mean, that was my forte, so
Yeah.
that's what I did.
The way
And the
that I self-sabotaged myself so many ways during
Mhm.
that period, for
Oh,
sure.
yeah. I mean,
And
I'm surprised I made it out alive, to be honest.
yeah, no, 100%. And I really love the way that you phrase that of that leaving an abusive situation in order to only do it to yourself again.
Yeah, I
And
mean
I'd never considered that for myself, but yeah.
And the crazy thing is my ex-husband, he was an alcoholic,
Right.
and so I left his alcoholism for my own.
Yeah.
I don't know if I wouldn't even I don't know if I'd consider myself an alcoholic, but I was definitely alcohol dependent.
Right.
But the drugs were just as much. But so I mean, I went from his extreme to my extreme for this with the same crap. So
Well,
yeah.
and I think at a certain point, our nervous system gets used to that chaos and we don't know any different.
Yeah.
And that's what feels like home. That's what feels like normal. Talking
Mm.
about that normal. And I don't like to use defining terms for my ex. He is who he is. You know, I don't know that he's an alcoholic. All I know is our drinking
No,
was
mine was diagnosed. I mean,
Oh, really? Yeah.
yeah, in and out of rehab like 10, 12 times. Yeah.
But that's like, especially in AA and recovery, people are like, "Nope, you gotta figure that out for yourself. If it fits,
Mhm.
you have to figure that out." And
Yeah.
so it's not my place to determine, but I do know that we had very similar drinking habits, and it was not good when we drank together. There's a lot of
Well,
toxicity there.
that's the crazy thing is we didn't drink together.
Oh, that's
I
funny.
didn't drink at all when
Yeah.
I was married to him. And that's what was so wild. It was like as soon as my divorce was final, I was in the bars and that was
Yeah.
it. I was done. It was just a downhill. I mean, it went, yeah, I went right into the hole. I mean, it was bad.
I think also some of the stuff I experienced in that relationship really wore down my self-worth.
Oh, yeah,
I didn't
mine
think
definitely.
I was worth not behaving like that. Like, I didn't know that I could have a better life,
Yeah.
and a lot of the insults and words thrown around chipped away at whatever confidence I had when we met.
Hmm.
You know? I was
Well,
18, though, when we met and got married,
yeah.
and I had no time on my own to learn who I was.
Yeah.
So, I don't even think I came into the relationship with self-worth.
Yeah. I don't, because I mean, my home life with my mom was not ideal either.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, I went from one abusive situation to another
Another.
abusive situation,
And
you know,
then
and then but,
yourself.
yeah, I mean, it after my divorce and all, it took years for me to ask John what I would consider a stupid question
Right. Oh
because
my
I didn't wanna
gosh.
be belittled and made to feel like, I was a dumbass
Yeah.
because that's how I had been made to feel majority of my life. So, yeah, no, I get that.
Yeah, it took a long time, and I still find myself doing it now. I really try to focus on letting myself relax, like, genuinely, truly relax or do something I enjoy.
Yeah.
And then I'll get, like, the Life 360 notification that Kyle is pulling into our neighborhood, and I'm like, "Oh, I gotta look busy," you know? And it's just not an issue. Or I'll
Yeah.
tell him, "I'll do laundry, but I really have to work on this project." He's like, "Okay, it's gonna get done. Like, what are you
Right.
like, what why are you making such a big deal out of this?" And I'm still trying to just exist and coexist with another person is hard
Yeah.
sometimes. But we'll get it's that adaptation again and learning how to navigate life at different
Yeah.
chapters, I think. So let's see. We got the Page of Cups, the Knight of Cups. That's going into that emotional, to me, it feels like emotional sobriety almost, and really just kind of being true to what you're feeling and not necessarily reacting to life. That's that's a rough one sometimes.
Yeah. That
Especially when I
yeah.
have a neighbor angry at my front door.
Yeah, that's a tough one because I do still tend to react pretty quickly, and my mouth does overrun my ass a lot.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but I'm learning. I'm
Yeah.
figuring it out. I'm a lot better than I used to be.
And that's what matters.
Yes,
That's
I
what
am
matters.
improving every
Yeah.
day.
I had a situation last, well, I guess it's been a couple weeks now, and someone decided they wanted to tell me how my husband's band should play.
Hmm.
And I was already upset because I had heard them. They were sitting at a table next to me and I already heard them complaining. And I was just like, why can they're just not even being nice? Like they're just being rude.
Yeah.
And so I was already like ready to fight. And so they lean over and they're like, "Hey, I just want to share this feedback." And I'm like, "One, I'm not part of the band. Two, you're coming in here before they ever started with assumptions of how it's going to go. What do you?" And then I'm like, I maybe working in a law firm, I've like picked up some of this like really good lawyer energy. I'm like trying to prove this guy wrong with all these points. No, I did have some very good points, but then I took a low blow. And at the time, I was proud of myself for it because I was like, you're going to hurt me and the people I love. I'm going to do the same thing.
Right.
The guy later apologized and he said, "You know what? You were right. I didn't give them a fair chance. It's going completely opposite of how I expected it. But what you said about the other thing was uncalled for." And I went, "Oof. Yeah, you're right." Like it really was. And that was hard.
Oh,
But
yeah.
that was like the one time in the last year that I've done that. A year, I don't know. But, like I used to do that all the time. Like, I'm a Gemini. That's what we do. We say things and they just rapid fire out of our mouth. And I know exactly what to say to like really cut someone super low. And I don't do that as naturally anymore.
Yeah.
And so I think that's progress, not perfection.
Hey, every little step.
Yeah. And I'll even tell Kyle, I'm like, "Are you proud of me? I didn't say anything to that person." He's like, "I'm proud of you." I'm so I'm so proud of myself that I didn't get in a fight with someone. You
Yeah.
know? The whole interaction yesterday, I have on video because it's on our doorbell camera. And I was like, "I didn't even say anything mean to her." And he's like, "I know, you did good." But yeah, I'm the same way. Like it's easy to react in the
Oh, yeah.
moment. And one of Kyle's favorite sayings is, "You don't need to take back anything you didn't say." I'm like, "Yeah, I know."
Yeah. Yeah, but what about the shit I did say?
Right. Yes. The other thing I hear, especially in the rooms of AA, is you don't have to do a ninth step on something you never said. And I'm like, "Yeah, that's
Yeah.
accurate. I don't want to apologize people, so I'm just not gonna say anything."
That's a good mindset to have. I
Yeah.
don't wanna apologize for it, so I'm just not gonna say it. Yeah, I feel that, like, deep.
Right? Like, sure, I will if I need to, but I would just rather I'll go talk to my friends about it later.
Yeah,
I'll talk to Kyle about it until I'm blue in the face,
yeah.
but I don't have to say it to them. It's
That's
just
right.
not. Yeah, and it does make me feel better that I can maintain and I'm not constantly digging myself out a hole. I used to get in fights with people all the time.
Same,
Like,
same.
oh my gosh. I'm
Yeah.
surprised I was never arrested.
Same.
I probably should have been.
Yeah.
There was one time, and it was mostly there was, like, certain people in our friend group, and we would just fight. Everyone's like, "You guys fight like brother and sister." And it was, like, to the point where we'd go go camping in the middle of the desert in California. We got in a fight about something. I think he was playing his music too loud. I wanted my kids to sleep, and I was already drinking, he was drinking, and I picked up his car keys and threw them out into the desert in the middle of the night. And he got mad at me, and I'm, like, pushing him down in the ground. Like, I was just causing problems wherever we
Wow.
found him. But, it's just, like, I was always just, like, I don't know, like, I see my dog when she's ready to fight, and all of her hair just stands up on it, and, like, that was
Yeah,
me constantly.
yeah,
Constantly. Oh my gosh. I was not a nice person.
yeah, I wouldn't either.
Every time I think about it, I'm, like, just so grateful I don't have to be like that anymore.
Yeah. I mean, John mellowed me out a lot.
That's good.
Honestly, he really mellowed me out quite a bit, but, you know the last 5 years, I've become a lot more
Yeah.
just, "Okay, whatever. Let's just go with it."
One of my favorite books is Many Lives, Many Masters, but then also Journey of Souls, and it talks about like reincarnation, but it also discusses soul groups and how we have these people in our life that we've made arrangements with prior to being born of what role they're going to play in our life. So I using that like to consider that my ex-husband was put in my life in order for me to learn certain lessons about self-worth, about my spiritual reawakening, about, like I had to experience that stuff through him in order to become the person I am now. And where was I going with this? Oh, the lessons, just kind of like the sacrifice that souls make in order for me to learn those lessons. So if my soul and his soul know each other on the other side, and he's like, you know what, I'm going to sacrifice a really happy life with you in order for you to learn these lessons. I'm going to be the bad guy. I'm going to
Wow.
be, like it really put things in perspective for me that way.
Yeah.
And I would imagine even in, like, your situation where he said, "You know what? I'm gonna have to check out early, and this is why. I'm doing it so you can learn and grow." And
Wow.
I hate that we don't get to live that happily ever after,
Yeah.
but at the same time, my soul needed to go through that experience in order to do the other things I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And it's just I just got chills talking about all that.
Yeah, that's
I feel it so deeply in my heart sometimes. And then, like, I see him at one of the kids' birthday parties, and I'm like, "Oh, he's still a jerk." Yeah, but I have to remember, like, that's his human form. That
Yeah.
is not who he is at a soul level. I'd like to think I'm a better person at my soul level, and Kyle, he's mellowed me out a ton. Like, he's the nicest person in the world. He totally has that, like, what do they call it? Golden retriever husband energy. It's he's like the total opposite of how I am. He's very outgoing, he loves to talk to people, he remembers everyone's name, he remembers their faces, and I'm like, "I could see someone last night and not remember who they are today." That's just not my forte.
Wow.
He'll remember your kids' names, he's just genuinely a good people person. I have to work at it, but I see him and I go, "Man, I want to be more like him. I want to be more caring and compassionate." And he's friends with all of his exes. I'm like, "Why? Like,
Mm.
they weren't even nice to you." He still talks to his ex-mother-in-law, like it's his mother-in-law. He still like, he's just such a genuinely loving person. And
Mm.
so again, I'm thinking his soul met my soul and said, "Hey, this is the next chapter of the lessons that you have to learn.
Yeah.
I'm gonna come into your life so that you can kind of see it played out in real life and how to do that." And I'm still not great at it. It's been 7 years. But,
Oh,
but like I
makes me
have
that
that.
makes me wonder how Mike fits into my picture.
What do you admire about him? What do you
Mike?
Yeah. Like, what is it about him that you're like, "Man, that's awesome that you can do that, but I can't."
I don't know. I love everything about him. He's had a pretty tumultuous life as well, with the drugs and prison and just all kinda
Yeah.
so, he's been through quite a bit as well, and his wife died, so, yeah.
So, someone who can reflect back your own strength and your own
Yeah.
tenaciousness in getting through. And I think also maybe it's not a lesson, but maybe it's a place to rest.
Yeah.
Just like someone who gets it, someone you don't have to over explain your situation to, and you can just be with them.
Yeah, and with him, I can just vent and talk and just ramble, and he's just like, "Okay," you
Yeah.
know? And he does the same thing.
Yeah.
Heaven forbid we go more than 3 or 4 days without talking to each other
Yeah.
because it's a back and forth because we're each other's person, and we're all we each other really has to talk to and to
Right.
open up and vent and
I love that. But yeah,
yeah.
I think sometimes like maybe it's not a lesson. Maybe it's just someone who sees you for
Yeah.
who you are and like you don't have I I think about that often with Kyle. Is like he's the one person I don't have to put a mask on for.
And that's yeah, and that's how it is with Mike. I mean, I can tell him about talk to him about anything, good, bad, indifferent, and he's like, "Eh."
I can be the bitch I want to be to everyone else with him. I try not to do it to him anymore.
Yeah,
But, like,
yeah,
we say some of the most, like, rude off the wall stuff. It will never leave our house. It will
right,
never leave, but he's
yeah,
like, "Yeah, that person's kinda whatever," like, we'll just back and forth. And, he knows I'm not coming from a mean place. He
right,
knows it's just I like I always reference my human is just, human sometimes, and he just will still love me.
yeah,
I've been so mean to him too, and trying to figure out all my mental health stuff. Oh my gosh, this last year I've been so mean to him. And he's still I go, "Why do you put up with me? Why do you still love me?" He's like, "I just do." Okay. Well, I don't need to earn it. I don't need to do something to like make you love me. What do
right,
I offer? And he's like, "You don't have to offer anything. I just really like you." I'm like, "Okay." Like that's a weird feeling, but okay.
yeah.
And I think, maybe that's the lesson too.
Now, if Mike and I lived together, that would probably be a lot different.
Yeah.
But our dynamic and situation, it works for both of us. So,
I there was a point last year where I was like, "Maybe I need my own bedroom." Like, maybe we just don't need to coexist as much.
mm,
I think also, like, navigating relationships with different people, they're
hmm
so individual and unique anyways. We can
yeah,
have these relationships, and we know what a marriage looks like, or we know what co-parenting looks like with someone, but then it's like, but then you have this other character traits that all kinda make it different.
yeah,
That's been interesting too.
yeah.
I've told Kyle, I was like, "I'm really glad we didn't have kids together, like young kids, because he parents very differently than I parent." And even with the dog, like, you can't parent the dog like that, like, you have to do this, and that'll be a source of, some arguments or discussions, I should say. But,
Yeah.
like, I'm really glad we didn't have small kids together.
Yeah, Mike's got 5 chihuahuas, so and
Oh
I
my
see the
god.
way that he is with them, and I'm like, "Yeah, he's the
Yeah.
terror."
Well, last night he gave our big dog is the only one left in the house. We had a small bulldog, and she was wrapped around he was wrapped around her little finger. That was his baby, and
Oh.
she was so bad about begging for food at a certain point, and he gave the big dog yesterday a tiny little bite of his food. Don't you start spoiling don't you dare, because she doesn't sit there and beg while we eat.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going back into that the whole cycle again. And he goes, "I know, I know." It's totally bad cop, good cop.
Creature of habit, you
Oh,
know.
he but that's just him. He just loves the animals. So he's a Pisces. He is like totally an animal person. When I first met him, he had 2 dogs, a bearded dragon, and they had like 4 birds.
Wow.
Coming from someone who is not an animal person, that was rough. I
I bet.
remember just waking up at his house going, "Oh my god, there's so many noises." But
Yeah.
it's calmed down a little bit. Yeah. Now we just have the one giant dog. She's she's my baby though. I've warmed up to her a lot over the years.
Mm.
But yeah, she is our baby. Let's see, how much more time do we have? A few more minutes. So I got the 9 of cups. I love that. That's like having done all the work emotionally and it's about to I don't want to say like come to fruition, but it feels like an upward climb of doing hard work to feel emotionally stable. It goes kind of back to that emotional sobriety. And now just kind of like reaching a plateau or like where things are a little easier. Maybe I don't want to say like top of the mountain because it's not necessarily like things are amazing, but the work that you've done is paying off, is how that feels. And then I got the Fool, which is the very first card in tarot and is often a sign of like a new chapter, a new journey, a new new adventure. And I think that's very fitting for having moved into a new house.
Yeah.
That's good. That's really good.
Yep.
There's 6 of Swords, changing perspective on things and setting out with a new understanding of whatever the situation may be. So wherever you're at on that. Let's see, what else is coming up with these? Mm. Oh, I got the Empress and the Queen of Pentacles. The Empress is probably one of my favorite cards. To me, she's a very, I don't say certain. How does that come up? Because it's coming up almost like very certain of herself, but just very stable doesn't feel right. Grounded doesn't feel right. Knowing who she is
Yeah.
makes sense.
Confident.
Yeah, and confidence is even like, I don't know, just like knowing what you're capable of, knowing how you're going to react to things, knowing, what you need in life, and not even necessarily like above and beyond, just knowing I need quiet time at the end of the day. I need you come home and unwind for 5 minutes before I start talking to everyone else. Whatever it is, like just this understanding of what it is that makes you feel whole and complete. And then the Queen of Pentacles for me is she's coming up interesting. I want to say it's coming up almost as like an moving through social status doesn't feel right. But, like, financial status, maybe things are easing up a little bit or feeling of like, okay, I really have a grip on how, I'm making money, how I'm spending my money, how I'm where my resources are coming from. It kind of feels like this maybe where things were rocky or unsure. Now there's a little bit more stability there and trust in that. Ooh, trust comes up for the Empress as well, like, trust in who she is. That's the word that's kinda, like, connecting these 2. Interesting. How do you feel about that?
I don't know. I mean, I mean, everything is just so chaotic right now that it's hard to really think about the move. Yeah, that's gonna financially, that's gonna help me and
Yeah.
Emily both a lot. And the I don't know. I that
It's
one's
uncomfortable, so
yeah, a little.
that's fair. And, I mean, that means maybe it's coming up that you get to a place where it's not as
Yeah.
uncomfortable.
Maybe it's a change in job. I don't know.
It could be, but also it feels almost like settling into a routine with work. So maybe where it feels a little unsteady right now or, like,
No,
just
there's nothing routine about my job now, so
but
that
not
would be
necessarily
nice.
like the daily routine, more so of a feeling in settled type of routine. So like getting the hang of it or feeling like I remember when I started my current job, my boss said 6 months is you need a good 6 months before you'll feel like you have a grip on things. And it was probably closer to a year. And even now I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I've been there 2.5 years and I'm like, I still don't know how to do my job. But I understand it. I get what the daily rhythm is like. I'm starting to anticipate things a lot easier. That's more of the routine that it's feeling like. So, like, really just kinda getting your bearings and
Yeah,
where you're at. And I think it's coming up for you. It might still feel uncertain, but I think, like, the message is give it time, and it just wait it out
uh,
is how that's coming through.
okay.
I'm interested to see how that goes because I know
Yeah,
you've been,
too.
like, trying to find your place
Yeah,
work-wise for a while now, and I think it's just, like, that's that, like, reaping what you sow feeling of, like, you've put in so much work trying to find somewhere that you fit or that fits your life, and I think it's just time for you to have that. It's
yeah,
and maybe that's my hope for you as a friend, but I really just want you to feel settled in that respect. 'Cause I've done that. I've done all the job hopping and everything else, and it's just not fun.
yeah,
I'm at my limit right now, like, the longest job I've had is 2.5 years, and I keep waiting for that, "Okay, is it time? Am I leaving? Am I gonna be so unhappy?" But also, This is the first time that I've, like, really been focusing on my mental health, and I'm pretty solid in my sobriety right now. I am not, like, self-sabotaging left and right everywhere I go.
Yeah.
I might actually make it to 3. I'm feeling pretty confident about it, but I also really like the people I work with, so that has a lot, lot to do with it. Uh,
Yeah. That makes a big difference.
it really does. It really does. I'm gonna do a card from the goddess deck. Alright, let's see what goddess you have today. Interesting. Very fitting. I cannot say that. Let me find the correct pronunciation. Yamanji. It's either Yamana or Yamanji. She is an African and Brazilian goddess who is created with crediting the sea. But her message is important doors are opening for you right now. Walk through them. And so we got the Fool card. You've just moved. I feel like it's a really good sign that things are really starting to work. That's kind of the theme of like things are starting to
Yeah.
even out and work out for you. Like ocean, life moves in waves and tides. Timing is everything. So when an opportunity presents itself, you must dive in at that moment. Everything you've done to prepare yourself will accompany you. Yet, if you hesitate or procrastinate, another opportunity will surely come along just as the tides wash in and out continuously. Like the ocean, life is rich with variety and beauty. Enjoy experiencing its various rhythms and allow all doubt to be washed away. Aw, I like that one.
That's cool.
I like it. All right, and then one more card from the Wild Offering deck says feelings. Emotions want to be felt. You really can't surrender something until you deeply feel it. Allow me, dear divine, to offer all emotions to you, feeling them fully so they no longer hold me captive. That one makes me think of like the emotional sobriety that we were talking about
Mhm.
and not necessarily reacting anymore, but just kind of, I don't know. I kind of get a let's simmer on that for a little bit type of
Yeah.
feeling. And then decide how we're going to respond.
Yeah.
But also it kind of goes into like if you are feeling apprehensive about your job situation, like feel that and figure out where it's coming from. What is it exactly that is making you second guess that?
Well, I know what it's making me second guess it. It's just nothing I can do to fix
Like
it.
the chaos about it.
Well, it's a lot of things.
Yeah,
Just
I get that. So one last question that I ask everyone on the show is what would you tell yourself 20 years ago? What piece of advice or what words of wisdom would you impart with yourself 20 years ago?
20 years ago, I would have been 29.
Oh, wait, 20-year-old you.
Oh, 20-year-old self. Oh,
Yeah, I
Jesus.
worded that totally wrong. 20-year-old
Um,
self.
wow. That's a tough question. Be open-minded, but pay attention.
Oh,
Be mindful of who, when, where, why,
yeah.
because a lot of that stuff could bite you in the ass one day.
Yeah,
That's yeah.
that makes sense. I like that. A lot of people's first reaction is, "Don't marry that guy," or,
Well, yeah,
but,
at
like
20, I was already married to him, so
but also, I feel like there's so much of who we are based on what we experienced.
yeah.
We can't quite write it all off, so I like
Well,
that, though.
I think that not much is my story that I would change because it has definitely made me who I am
Yeah.
today. And I've got my babies and my grandbabies, so
I
that makes it
know.
all worth it.
I love all the pictures you posted them. So cute. We
They're
don't post pictures. My girls are very protective of their kid, and I don't even hardly post about my kids anymore.
yeah,
Mostly just because my audience has grown a lot, and most people don't need to know that part of my life.
yeah,
And I feel like a lot of people are like, "You have kids?" But I do love seeing them. It's nice to be able to just because I remember when you first found out you were gonna be a grandma, Which was
Yeah.
about the same time that I found out about my first grandchild, and
Yeah, because my oldest, he'll be 3 in May.
yeah, and hers is June. June,
Yeah.
July, June. Yeah, she's late June.
Yeah, we've got a 3, 2, and a 1 all
Yep.
in May. And
Well, oh my gosh. Yeah, they're all spread out. We'll have 2 and up this year. They're all turning either 2, 3. There's so many of them now. I look back at, like, my grandparents are like, "When's your birthday? What's your name?" And now
yeah.
I feel like I do the same thing because I'm like, I don't know when they were born. I used to be really good with birthdays, and I'm like, "There's so many of them. I don't know."
Yeah, well, I guess if all of mine weren't in May, it'd be a little
A
more
little
difficult.
easier. Yeah. Thank you
So,
so much for doing this with me today,
thank
especially so
you.
spur of the moment, but I'm really grateful that A, I know you, and B, that we've become friends, but also C, that you were willing to just jump in and do this
Oh,
'cause
yeah, I saw your post, I'm like, "Me!"
oh, I
'Cause I've been
love
I've been
that.
wanting I've been
I love
wanting to
it.
do it, it's just everything hadn't panned out, and then today I was like, "You know what? I'm finna take a break."
Yeah.
So,
Well, yeah, now you can get back to unpacking.
yeah,
Mm.
no,
No,
not today.
it's not going anywhere,
No.
no? So,
I mean, I'll just have to have it by tomorrow afternoon or tomorrow night when I get ready to go to bed.
yeah, there you go. Yeah.